being 7:10 on Monday, February 3rd, call the Board of Health meeting to order. All members present except for Linda Dickey, Sharon, Donna, Terry, and Bob are in place. In place. Annual special town meeting warrant.
You're looking at me, or?
No, I'm just steering into space,
Okay.
but you happen to be at the space I'm steering at.
The reason I put this on the agenda is to make sure that anything that we think we might need to be put on the warrant, we know that it needs to be put on by a deadline. The only thing that I'm aware of that just I'll double check is the SSRC membership. If you remember, I sent a letter to Rick stating why I thought it was very important that we continue our membership. Other than that, I'm not aware of anything that we need to put on the warrant. Lorraine is covered.
I thought our SSRC membership was part of our budget.
It is, but this is part of, the town has to vote for the continued membership. It's something that Claire has to do every so many years.
Oh, okay.
That's what this is about.
And it has to be on the annual, not the special?
I'm not sure which one, but it's just something that I want to make sure that, I'm going to remind Dory to make sure it's put on.
Okay, did the selectmen meet last week? Did they talk about when they're gonna close the warrant?
Yes, I sent you an email. It's, the warrant was open January 27th.
Okay.
And it's going to close the town meeting warrant, February 18th, special town meeting warrant, March 3rd. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware.
So March 3rd is for the special or for the annual, or for
For the
both?
special.
Okay.
And February 18th is for the annual. But I'll just send a reminder out.
Thank you.
But Lorraine is okay till the end of this fiscal year.
Okay.
Did we want to put in for more money for residents of the town to go to other hazardous waste collections between now and?
If you want to, because there will be a spring collection in other towns, and ours wouldn't. We will have a event in September with Whitman, and Whitman will host it. But between now and then, no. If you want to do that, that would be fine. If you want me to add something in,
I'd like to add something in for the citizens of Abington to have the ability to go to other towns to get rid of their hazardous waste and be so we can reimburse those towns for our citizens taking their waste to those towns.
And how much do you want me to ask for?
I thought we were less than $1,000 left in our budget, so
It's less than that.
like 500 or something like that.
What we
Less
have,
than that.
what we have right now?
Yeah.
We have 300, but we haven't gotten the bill for the roll-off from Waste Solutions so I don't want to spend.
So is this covering just till June 30th, or is this covering?
This would be covering just till June 30th.
Yeah, so I would think $1,500.
Okay.
I would think would be more than adequate.
For next year?
No,
between now and June
from the
30th.
spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
In case people wanted to go to other city towns to go, we would be able to have money to reimburse them without having to go back to the town for money.
Okay.
Because I don't think we have enough in our
So that would
budget
be in
to
the
pay for it.
So that would be in the special.
No, we have probably like maybe $368, and I've been holding off on doing anything because Waste Solutions, if they do bill us for the roll-off, I need to have the money in there for the roll-off.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
I'll put that in.
I just think
Right.
that's something we should do. I don't
So-
think we should get too much, but I think $1,500, with $1,800, I think we should have enough to cover our expenses till June 30th.
Did we cut that budget line item last year? Do you recall by how much?
Yes, it was cut during, I don't have it off the top of my head, but it was cut. We actually, in this past year, I was very, very careful during hazardous waste days that we did not go over, that we kept a really close tally of the number of cars coming in. So we're okay right now.
And I appreciate that, but we
Yeah.
also have people in town who want to get rid of
Yeah.
their hazardous waste and not have to pay for it if they
Correct.
don't have to. So I was just curious, because I know there's been cuts. I didn't know if it's been consistently cut And if it's time to start adding back a little?
I think if you look on the budget, I think I put like $3,500 for next year. I don't think I have my budget with me because it's not on the agenda.
Is it on here?
Yeah, let me just
Thank you.
tell you. Yes, it's budgeted for $3,500 for next year, and because we're not the host site, you tend to get less cars, so I think this is sufficient. Okay. But it's right here on, can I put a pen on it?
I wish you would.
Okay.
You're saying 2015 it's budgeted for? That you're saying next year?
Yeah, FY 2015.
Starts July 1st.
Yeah, do you see where I put the pen mark?
Okie dokie. Okay. Oh yeah, that's much better. That you hit the nail right on the head. That was the difference.
That's why I get paid.
So right now,
You
those are the
do.
only two things that you would consider that I should put on the agenda?
The only other thing I was thinking of is office expenses between now and June 30th. Is there any other equipment we need to purchase? Is there anything else the office needs?
I think we're okay with that, yeah.
So we have enough
We
to cover
are-
the phone bills, we have enough to cover
yeah.
equipment, paper, all that, postage, all that stuff.
Yes, and I actually had Lorraine, I don't know if it's in that bill, but she needed to buy some more wheels for the carts, and I just had her take it out of the,
Trash?
grinding fund,
Okay.
yeah.
If we were suggesting that more hours or an additional employee to assist Sharon, is that where that goes?
No,
Well, that's in there.
That's in there.
That's in there.
That's a separate line item.
Okay,
Budgets are really dictated by line
Yeah.
items,
okay,
and you have to have a line item for everything you want to expense
Okay.
out. They
okay,
have to be able to account for each item that you want. So there is a budget line item in there for continuation of Lorraine. There's also a line item in there for additional actual assistance for Sharon to get a part-time helper to
okay, that's what.
help her throughout the year. And I will speak, I would, if asked, I would speak on that because
Okay.
of what she's done in the last
Okay.
couple of years to the town if called upon at the town meeting. People have no idea the level of effort she goes out there to do what she's doing and how well she's doing it and what she's done for it, so. I think it's more than adequate to ask for both Lorraine and for additional support for Sharon, actually
Okay.
having someone besides a student
Correct.
riding the roads with her during the
Correct.
summertime. She does have students. And that's very good because she's helping future people in her career path do their work, so.
And the last student, didn't they do the recycle program?
They did a really nice job on
Yeah,
that.
did a
Okay.
great
It's
job.
downstairs.
Yeah, I
that
thought, yeah,
was really
I wanted to
good.
raise awareness to that.
Thank God. Anything else on the warrant? Anybody else have any ideas for the warrant?
How are we looking this year? What's the message? Is there a
Is there a
budget
date
message?
for budget meetings?
Yes, that was part of, it's February 26th, and the time is 7 o'clock. I found that out today.
The finance.
And I
committee.
did send you folks an email asking if anyone wanted to
Yeah.
come.
But what is the general budget message this year? What is the town manager,
I haven't really,
did he say level funded?
No.
Level service, no direction yet?
I think, not to my knowledge, that I haven't heard anything that it's anything different than, I didn't put any, the only increases I put in was in case the nurse's budget goes up a little bit, just to make sure we have enough. I don't think it will, but I just wanted to make sure. I put the postage budget up some because stamps have gone up. And we send out a lot of mail in our department because of not only the permits, but the certified letters that have to go out. But I didn't change a whole lot, because
So he didn't have like a department head meeting?
he did, but I wouldn't say that he,
Encourage everyone to increase their budget.
no,
by
I
30%.
didn't,
Have a field day.
I didn't feel that at all, that, yeah, I think it's basically pretty much status quo,
Okay,
yeah.
level service.
We did ask for additional funding for the Groveland Street site, so we can actually do more work up there. I think there's $18,000 in that this year.
Right.
And hopefully they'll budget that, because I really would like to do the next level, which is to turn all the piles on the right to make a huge pile for the town. We now have tree bark.
Yes, chips, yeah.
Chips, and so we can offer chips in the spring to the clientele if they want to have chips for their yard. And then I'd like to get everything that we've taken in the fall and the spring and get that ground and get that moved on, so that we actually have a process now every year where we're going from A to B to C to A to B to C, leaving that center line wide open if we need to.
The other thing that I think is really important is to try to get the word for cameras for down there too, because we have constant barrage of people leaving stuff.
Yes, and we
Yeah,
need
that
to
has
push
to
for
be
that.
constantly be cleaned out. Yeah.
We may only need, you know, if the thought process was if the town advances the money, I would think about leasing the equipment just first rather than buying it, to see if it actually did anything for us. It may be that we have it for a year and we actually fine 2 or 3 people and collect those fines, and maybe that's enough to get the people word out that will look, the camera's theirs, before we actually put out a huge amount of money to buy these and install these. So we may once if we get the funding for it, we may want to go out to bid and have a professional committee set it up.
So where would the funding come for that?
The town meeting.
Yeah.
So that would be.
That's another line item on the town meeting.
Okay.
That wouldn't go into the Board of Health budget, that would be a separate,
Yeah, for that purpose.
and depending on the cost.
Well, right now I have it in the grinding account. It says cameras.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I have it as one of, you have to write the need of why you're putting in such, and one of the things I wrote was for cameras. I just thought it should be emphasized during our finance committee meeting of the importance of trying to look for that. Yeah.
That's that one on Wednesday that you're talking about?
The 26th, yeah.
Okay, anything else on the warrant or anything to do with the annual special town meeting? If not, let's move on to trash issues. On the 31st, we were supposed to replace the dumpsters and the toters at the high school and the 5 grandfathered condominiums. And thanks to Sharon's diligent and due process, she made arrangements to go out and recontract both of those contracts, saving the town a considerable amount of money, I believe over $10,000.
No, not quite, $7,070.
Saving $7,070 to the town and having 2 new contracts for the trash, which will both expire at the same time that our trash contract
That's
expires.
correct.
But we now have South Shore disposal collecting those 5 condominiums, and they have replaced the dumpsters there, and we have toters at the schools
Yes,
for recycling, and they've replaced those.
correct.
So
We're
we have-
using our own toters.
Those are up there. Are there any other trash issues that anyone has to offer?
Yes, I do.
Sharon has something to offer.
Yeah.
All right, Sharon.
Two trash issues. One is, I got a complaint from Donna that she was concerned about the conditions of the dumpsters, and I had Lorraine go out this morning, then I went out, and then I also had Brian Powers, who runs South Shore Disposal, who's our new contractor, look at these dumpsters, and all 3 of us thought they looked fine. I actually opened the side doors to make sure they worked all right, and the biggest problem I saw was that the residents at Lincoln Village are commingling recycling in with trash and trash in with recycling. And I actually have volunteered to go to their condo meeting next week to talk to them about the importance of not doing that, because the hauler can get fined for having dirty recycling. And it's just a really important piece to learn about that, and also that they need to really break down the boxes, because if it just takes up extra space that's not needed. So that's one piece. No, I haven't heard any other calls from any of the other grandfather condominiums since this new company has put them in place as of Friday. So that's good news. The other piece is last Wednesday, I was driving to work. I can pass this around, and EOMS had a recycling truck ahead of me that was overloaded, and cardboard boxes and flyers and debris was flying off the truck, and people were dodging,
Oh, nice.
trying to get
Goodness.
away
Little
from being hit.
public safety.
And when he pulled into Abington, he pulled off the side because I think he realized they were flying everywhere. And I got out of my car and talked to him, and he said he didn't realize that they had been, flying off the truck. And I talked to his general manager, who asked me if he got out of the truck to clear it off, and I said no, he never got out of the truck. And I said I would be sending him a letter with a fine. So this is a letter that I sent to him that you can read. But what was very ironic was the same day this occurred, which is very scary, especially when you're trying to dodge stuff. Is there was I don't know if you heard on the news, there was an accident in Burlington, Mass, where a mattress was on the road,
I
and
heard
one
about
person
that.
got killed, and it was like a 4-car accident. So it's really, really important that anyone that's hauling stuff or whatever through the streets does it without overloading it.
Aren't they supposed to put a cover over it?
It's supposed to, I think it was supposed to be closed, but that's a letter that I wrote. But those are my 2 trash issues that I wanted to talk about.
And actually, I sent Sharon an email regarding a situation at 604 Bedford Street that I observed, where there is apparently a nail company there that is doing some remodeling, and for some reason I just looked to my left as I was walking, and I said, what the dickens is in that dumpster? And one of the smaller dumpsters has a Troop label on it. It is stuffed to the gills with sinks and chairs and all kinds of stuff, and the like stuff from other sites within this nail company is all over the ground, and a bunch of other stuff. I asked a gentleman, I identified who I was, excuse me, and I asked the gentleman who was responsible for that, and he was telling me who it was, and I sent the information to Sharon. It hasn't been officially looked into yet. So.
Well, it has. I mean, I went and did an inspection, but the shop wasn't open.
Okay.
So they open on Wednesday, so I was going to go back and directly talk to them on Wednesday when it's open.
And they rent from an off-site owner. So I did tell the gentleman what the actual trash situation is, and invited him to look on the website of the town of Abington to find out the correct way to dispose of all that stuff, and pointed out to him that other wooden things that were all over the ground, which he stated at the time he was going to break up and put into the dumpster, and I said no, that would not be appropriate either.
Was it a private dumpster?
It's a private dumpster, it's true.
Yeah, it's just amazing how much stuff is in it. So tried to educate him, pointed out the site where he could further educate himself and the woman. So, and then I just reported it to Sharon.
Okay.
So, and that company actually has been observed picking up trash at like not too long after 6 o'clock in the morning.
True?
Yes. Which reminds me, the 2 dumpsters on Lincoln Village, one is true for
I
one
know,
is.
he obviously did a third party, a contract.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's okay to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the size of it okay?
Mm-hmm.
All
I
right.
asked him. So it was an 8-yard dumpster, same as you had before. Is this all right?
Perfect.
That's fine.
Okay.
Very well done.
Okay.
Any other trash issues? Next thing on the agenda was me with fees and fines, and fees and fines is just a reminder to all of us that based on conversations we've had with other operations in the town, that maybe we need to re-look at what we're putting out for fees and fines. We specifically had a conversation with a vendor regarding food and the amount of money that we were charging for licenses, specifically for catering licenses and other things. So I just would like the board to take into consideration that we, before the end of this current calendar fiscal year, June 30th, I'd like to have an updated, approved list of fees and fines for the fall, so that we're not hurrying through the summer to try to get that done, so.
Can I add one thing with this?
You can have it if you want.
Well, the Board of Health no longer does burial permits. It's been transferred to the town clerk's office.
Do we
And
need to-
that would need to be removed from here. And I could make some suggestions of other things on here if you want me to at some point.
I'd be in favor of that. I'd also be curious, do we have ideas of what the fees are in surrounding
Well, we can
communities?
look into that. I think Mary did some research on that at one point, and then for some reason, I guess it never got, we never got to the point of talking about it, but I know at one point, I believe I can check in with her on that. But this is one piece that would need to be taken off because of the change of the permits going to the town clerk's office.
Are there any new types of permits that we need to think about?
One of the things that I had talked about at one point is body art and body piercing apprenticeships. That I'd like to look into adding that onto the list. And we also don't have any, at this point, re-inspections for tanning or body art inspections.
Wouldn't that just be a regular reinspection fee?
Not if it's not listed. I
Oh.
would not, I don't feel it's proper to charge something that's not listed here.
Okay, well, we need to do that.
I like the 10-day emergency beaver removal.
Yeah, it's never come up, but
It's Abington.
Just too cute.
The land of the beaver.
I did have that in other towns in Western Mass.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I haven't even seen one.
I just opened that up.
Look at that.
That was in the mail to me.
Oh, thank you. Okay. So you want to have us look into a comparison?
That would be helpful.
Okay.
We don't want people coming in here accusing us of just coming up with regulations and willy-nilly applying fees.
Okay.
I was hoping that Linda would be here, so we could go over dumpster regulations and try to get some final pieces of it. That will be on the headline for the next meeting. Hopefully we'll all make it. I'd really like to get down to the nitty-gritty of the dumpster regulations as far as what we're gonna implement, when we're gonna implement, and what that regulation says. So, for our next meeting in February, I'm asking all board members to be ready to respond to what we now know as the dumpster regulations drafts that we've had since last fall. If you don't have a current copy, please call the office and ask Mary to send one to you. And then be ready to
Yeah.
make some decisions on what we want to do and not want to do. As I said to you earlier,
What was left undone? I thought we did pretty much most of it.
we talked about implementation, gates, how we're gonna implement it, pads versus
Oh, okay.
gates
All right.
versus
Good.
fences versus who's gonna be fenced in, who's not gonna be fenced in, how we're gonna do that. Whether or not we wanna implement the regulation without having an actual enforcement for a year just to get the, or less than a year, or half a year, whatever, to give people time to get their act in order, to clean up their act. Whether or not we're gonna do this to residents as well as commercial, how we're gonna affect the residents of 4 or more people living in that property, and we're gonna affect them the same way we're gonna do commercial property. So there's a bunch of things we need to resolve and get down on paper. It would be nice if we have a vote in March, or no later than April 30th, with an open meeting to the town, so that people in the town know this is coming, and then get it out there for dispersal, so we have 6 months of the rest of this year to get the town up and ready and go, and so that next spring, when we start doing inspections again, Sharon just puts that as part of her inspections, the dumpsters area. So I'd like to get that off our plate and moved on to something else. So.
Now, the whole reason we got this got pushed to the forefront was because of that rat incident. Have we heard anything else since then?
No, I'm still working on one property, 29, I think it's 29 Linda Street. finally got resolved. That was the one that had the shaker shingles, and I finally got that resolved. It's been, there is
The
one.
bank stepped up?
Well, it's called calling the bank
Yeah.
several times.
Oh, okay.
And the other one, which is also bank-owned property, I'm still working on, and I talked to them today, and I gave them till next Monday to complete it, or I said I was gonna do a show cause hearing, because it's been since November.
But no more complaints?
No, no. But it's a time of year that you
Yeah.
wouldn't see them as much, yeah.
Okay.
Health agent report?
I actually finished my January food inspections and started tobacco for 2014 for the ones that were, also include tobacco with their, in their food establishment or retail food. I think the main things I want to just let you know about, and then I'll go through my updates, is we've had 7 different, and I brought this up last week, but 7 different insufficient heat complaints at 272 Bedford Street. And Thursday, we had 2 additional calls come in from tenants that had already had done inspections, and then another set of tenants came into my office and went up and spoke to the town manager. And because I was trying to get the building department on the same page as I was of trying to figure out what was going on, they're putting in new heating systems that they're like these Florida heaters that you have on the wall.
Yep.
And what was happening was you're getting a lot of hot air where the heater was, but not as much towards the back of the unit, apartment. So we finally had a meeting with the town manager, the fire chief, the building inspector, and myself. And it was determined that I would go down Friday morning with the electrician at the property who was putting in these heaters and take temperature readings. I did 7 different units for heat and also hot water. Most of them were finally within minimum standards. A couple of them weren't. A couple of the rooms weren't. It was also warmer out Friday. They're in the process of trying to put like a blower system at the other end of the apartment to have the air pushed down more. But until I have a final from the electrical inspector saying this is okay, the best I can do is base it on my code as temperature requirements. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that was probably one of the biggest things I've been having to do constantly lately is this particular complex, to the point that I felt it was really important to have a joint meeting because it was, I wasn't feeling comfortable with what I was seeing of, at one point the owner had put hot water heaters in that didn't have plumbing permits, and I just wanted to make sure that the electrical was being properly done because of the fact we've had so many different complaints regarding it.
How many units in that building?
There's the one I'm talking about, which is sort of like it has like 4 different sections. I believe there's 16 units because there's 4 separate areas of the building, like A, B, C, and D, and each one has 4 units to a building, and I think there's at least a couple that are vacant, but so I'd say I've had at least half of the occupancy calling me.
So they all have the
Now
same
those-
type of heating system then?
They all have exact
But
type.
they're not all having the same problems.
They were, yes,
Okay.
yeah.
That's horrible.
I think some of it is they don't, it's a remote control system. It's not the most easy using remote control.
This is the new system that they put in?
Yeah.
Now, these heaters, my understanding is it's one for every room. So they have one for the whole apartment?
They have one big one in the living room, and then they have, I took some pictures, I can show it to you. They have like holes in the closet where they've cut out to do venting, And then, because that isn't sufficient, they're now putting like a blower fan system at the other end. But this is where the wire inspector has to say, this is, wait a minute, start, you can, this like 6 pictures that way.
Oh.
So that's why I ended up asking to have a meeting.
So
With the
these
town
proposals
manager?
are
Yes,
Okay.
and the building inspector and the fire chief,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're scheduling it now, or you
No,
already
it was
had
last
Okay,
Thursday.
I'm sorry.
And based on that meeting, I went down Friday morning for 2 hours and took readings in 7 different units.
And some of them came back okay, and
Some of them came
didn't?
back okay. A couple of the rooms in 2 of the units were still too low.
Are those the type of things just advertised on Mitsubishi system, or?
They
it's
are
just a name-
Mitsubishi
just a name?
system. That is a system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I saw those when I was in Antigua. They had like air conditioning. and it was
It's
just-
combination,
it was-
yeah.
When I was there. it
They
was
have like
just
a
in one
louver.
room.
Yeah,
But it-
no,
but
'cause
I think one of the
Next
pro-
Step Living was showing those at our farmers market this year, and it looks really
Yeah.
good, but I was under the impression it was per room.
Not to my knowledge, but I think one of the biggest problems is the remote control is not easy to understand.
Well, not
Yeah.
just that, if it's not adequate, people need.
Well,
to-
that's what they're working on right now. But that's why I had the meeting, because I was concerned with the amount of
Oh,
complaints I was having.
oh,
The other items, Doris Street is the one I just spoke to about. It's a bank owned. I have a bunch of re-inspections this week. I'm doing. The next piece you can see is Old Bedford Street, the different units. And then I was just gonna give you an update on, I guess you already understand the chipping of the Christmas trees was done this past Friday. We got the bill in. Compost site, this is very important for you guys. And I asked Mary to put out calls today for who might be interested, because March isn't that far away for running the compost site. 2 people have said yes, which was Mr. DeVoulis and Mr. Rapson. Lorraine does not want to do it this year. She'd like to do other things, and we haven't heard back from Hal Norton. So I just want to put a big piece out to you guys. If you know of anyone that might be interested, I thought it was really important to let you folks know now.
yeah, and can you let the selectmen know, maybe they can make an
Yeah.
announcement at their meeting, people
Yeah,
tend to watch
I'd be
theirs.
glad to. In a report, I will have it done for you for the next meeting on February 18th to have you look it over. And then it's due by February 24th, but I have it like 3/4 done.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. I reminded you about the budget meeting with the Finance Committee on February 26th at 7 o'clock. It would be in the Cotter Room, if anyone wants to come.
We'll be there.
Okay. And Gut Books. Gut Books, for anyone that doesn't know, is we have a recycling container out in the back of the parking lot that people can come, and the library uses it a lot to recycle books, and it keeps the weight out of the waste stream and such. Well, really without any warning, they filed bankruptcy and stopped collecting, and I actually found out from Claire Sullivan from SSRC, and after talking to her, I said, would it be a good idea to put this out for bid, because there's 14 towns, in our SSRC, and a lot of them use Gut Books. In the meantime, she said that was a good idea, so she's planning to put it on the agenda for our meeting in February. In the meantime, I made some calls, and I couldn't get a whole lot of information. I have since gotten some information that I can file by February 12th claim for what we haven't been paid, which I have the list of the amount of collections we had for 2013, and it amounts at least to $237.09 that we have not been paid for, and probably 2 other pickups, because that one goes to November. I know we had one in December, and we had one a couple weeks ago. So I am going to file a claim to try to get reimbursement for that. There are 2 companies that are interested in bidding for the job. One of them is called Recycle That. I talked to them today. they're willing to do the same collection, pay reimbursement that we had with Gut Books, which is $20 per ton. And there's another one, Mini Warehousing Incorporated, that works with a company called Big Hearted Books. I put a call into this company today, and I'm waiting for a call back just to see what they have for an alternative. I've been in touch with Deb Grimmett she's our town librarian, just to keep her informed about this. But I just wanted to let you know, right now, we're okay because they are collecting still, if you put a request in, and they actually came the very next day. But, sure, you can pass them around. But it's something that, we've got to put something else in place. So I just wanted to let you know what happened with that.
What was the first company that you mentioned?
It's called, what's that?
Recycling that?
What else do they do? Do they do more than just books?
They do textile recycling, but because
We
we
already
have
got that.
boxes already, I told them we really weren't interested in textile recycling.
But
So
that's
those
it?
are the only two things. We even asked,
Always looking for opportunities.
yeah, Claire even asked Bay State Textile, who does our textile recycling, if they were interested in going
Books.
into the book business, and no, it's more like they wanted to stay with the textile.
Okay.
Do you have, beyond that, do you have any questions on the report that you wanted to ask me? On my report?
No,
Okay.
it's fine. Thank you.
Any plans on vacation between now and the spring?
Well, I have to take 3 weeks at some point. I gave up on the comp part right now, but I have to do 3 weeks. I have to do 3 weeks before, or I'm gonna lose them if I don't, but I haven't yet.
So when are you gonna take them?
Probably after our budget meeting, I'll probably try to plan something, but right now I'm trying to, there's certain things you have to get done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything on the agenda for the health agents report?
No, it's fine.
Do we have any minutes that we need to talk about?
We have minutes here from December 9th. I'll pass them around. I would motion to accept the minutes. I don't know if you want to take a look at them first.
Oh, I have some. Were you
Yeah,
pass?
but that's not the right, I think you got 2 different dates.
Well, we can't do November 12th.
Yeah, you can't do November's because
No,
Linda's
this
not
is
here.
December.
Oh, you do have them, okay,
Yeah, I
all
printed
right.
them.
So that's-
This is extra?
Yeah, I guess so, you can pass it back.
Yeah, I have. I printed up.
Okay. So I motion to accept.
Thank you.
Second.
Do you want to look at that? You want me to bring it
That's
back?
all right, because I don't vote on them anyways, I just was.
I motion to accept. So, I motion to accept the minutes of Monday, December
Is this
9th.
one that's
I already
for...
Oh, second.
Hold on, she's got some questions, wait a
The
minute.
only thing I was asking was, is just 301, does that mean for, against and abstained? Is that the order that it goes in?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you would abstain, so you're the
he'd
one
abstained.
on the,
He's the one, yes, for that variance.
all right,
Yes.
awesome.
I abstained for personal reasons because
Yeah.
it
Yes,
didn't
yes.
involve him
I
with
just
the restaurant.
hadn't seen it in writing before.
And to answer your Chestnut Street, that got resolved, because
Oh,
remember
okay.
I talked about it last meeting? Do you she's asking about the 200 Chestnut Street. I actually had them open up pieces of the the soil absorption system,
Oh.
so it got resolved.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because
Yeah.
that looked like it was gonna be a tough one.
It
Good
wasn't
job.
the easiest thing, but I talked to his attorney, and he understood where, my position. Said, I wish you would x-ray eyes, and meaning that I did, and I said, I wish I did too, but luckily it was done during that sort of thawing
Thaw,
period in
good,
January.
good.
So it worked out all right, and he's been issued a certificate of compliance. I had the engineer on site during the inspection also.
We have a motion to accept the minutes from December 9th and 2nd. Is there anything further to say? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it, 300.
300.
Rest in there guess we'll have to wait for the next meeting. Correspondence?
The only one that I had was what I showed you regarding the gut book situation.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else in the box regarding letters.
So people can still drop off books, we just don't know if we're gonna get
Absolutely.
paid for them.
Yes, until this gets resolved, and then eventually, because gut books is no longer in existence, we're gonna have to pick a different company. But right now, they've been very accommodating, at least having coming out, because it was pretty full at one point.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I know, it's a great benefit for the
Yes.
town, and it saves us money. Speaking of which, I don't mean to go back to the warrant, but how are we doing on the trash? Are we gonna have to go?
No,
For any unpaid
no,
bill?
we're fine. Plus, we have
But the numbers
Two-
are wacky.
two
Tonnage is
things.
wacky.
Two things
So it
that we
depends
have
on
a
the
little bit
spread.
of a lesser amount now because of the going to a different company
Okay,
for the $7,070. We were paying almost $39,000 a year for the condos and the toters, and we're down to like 28,800.
okay.
And then we also deducted the difference from the bulk items, if you remember, which was a savings of, I think, 7,000 something dollars, I remember. 7,420, I think it was.
So as long as we
So
don't
I
get-
think we're okay.
Even
Yeah.
if we do get a soaking spring, we have, our trash barrels have covers on them, so
They
that should
are.
help.
I agree with Bob, though. I am surprised that it doesn't seem to go down as much as I'd like to see it. Now, I don't know if that's somewhat to do with the bulk, in it, but I don't know. I just am sort of surprised.
That being said, Mary, if you could send out another spreadsheet to the board, adding the last 2 months of trash with the tonnage and the dollars spent, just so we can keep a running track of how this tonnage for recycling and for trash and the cost of recycling trash is playing ups and downsies, as you did from the original report that you gave to us several months ago. So if you could just update that with whatever months we're missing, that would be helpful for our next meeting on February 18th.
And if I could interject, I will send you out a comparison of other towns that have been watched, including ours, with either DEP or through Claire for tonnage amounts. I think ours is an 18% drop, but there's other towns that are much higher, so I'll send it out to you folks to have you look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warrant, trash, fines, dumpster, report, vouchers, minutes. Just so I can rekindle the thought process again. Fees and fines. So
Yeah.
if you're not aware of them, look at them. Let's get something on that. The dumpster regs, let's see if on February 18th we can have that as our lead item and try to get through at least the final document portion of the trash regulations, and then let's see if we can actually establish, how each of you see this going into effect. We all have our own thought processes, and so who's affected, how, when, and maybe we can put some potential dates so that we can have one more internal meeting in March and then go out to the public and maybe have that meeting in late March or 1st of April and then actually set a regulation so it's in a place before they get to the end of the calendar year in June. So that we have a plan for the fall, so that when we open up again, the people in the town will know what they're responsible for. But we want to give them a window of opportunity to make changes.
Do we have something to look at from the experience that you've had before with rolling out dumpster regulations, that even if there's information from other boards or newspaper articles or something, so that if someone asks, well, how did they do this in other towns, and you could say that this was how it was done, and these were some of the issues that people thought of, and maybe they turned out not to be issues, or they were dealt with in such and such a way, as a comparison.
The only comparison I can make is the one I gave you from where I used to work.
From up in Amesbury?
Mm-hmm. And we just put those together
Okay.
and then had a public hearing on it. And then we voted or the board voted to accept them.
Okay.
I think they're pretty good regs,
Oh, no,
as
good.
far as
Yeah.
pretty standard and reasonable. But that's all I can tell you. It's the only dumpster regs I've had that since I've worked on as far as adopting.
And how did it go in terms of rolling it out in that town? Did it go smoothly?
It was,
or-
yeah. I think some people needed some time, which I think
Okay.
is very reasonable. They came in to have the board approve different plans if they had issues with either too close to a property line or a space issue.
Okay.
But on the whole, there weren't that many that you really had to go after because a lot of these places already have enclosures.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Well,
we'll just have to see what happens. When we.
Well, but I just,
Try to make it as smooth as possible.
well, in long, like I said to everybody, and as members have stated before, they're concerned about the cost to people and stuff like that. So this can be rolled out in several ways. We can roll it out to commercial businesses first, then roll it out to residential businesses later. We can roll it out so that your initial thing is you have to have it on a pad in the first 6 months, and then you have 6 months to get a fence up on the commercial property around the thing, and it's locked. You really got to get finite on these definitions of what you expect. You can have somebody go in and pour a pad and put a fence up and have the gates wide open and the shit's everywhere. That doesn't.
But that's part of the regulation saying it's supposed to be kept closed at all times too, when not in use.
Well, closed and locked or closed, or
Yeah.
Closed.
Unopposed view and accessibility, stuff like that. So, while we're on the agenda, as far as our new voice recorder is concerned,
Yeah.
I was wondering if we could go out to see if they make a additional microphone that could be shared down,
Okay,
if that's plausible, so we could have more than one, so we have the microphone on the device and put another
Sure.
microphone down there with a cord,
okay.
Uh,
Mary did mention today that it was very, very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that's true, she also said she was able to download it to her desktop, which
No.
No?
I asked her the same thing, but she said, I guess Wayne is our IT person. I guess they don't have the software yet for that. That's like on a wish list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll ask him about that though.
Okay, so do we have to get another memory chip for this? Does this memory chip fill up eventually?
I'm assuming, I'm not really.
I'm not a whiz
Yeah.
So
either,
we could
but-
ask Wayne.
I'll ask Wayne about memory chips too, and if so, I'll buy some. Okay.
No, it's a micro cassette, so
Yeah.
I assume they're fairly inexpensive, given the fact you can buy a 3 or an 8 gigabyte now for $13 at Walmart, so.
That's not my expertise on any.
It's not mine either, but I'm just
Yeah.
trying to figure out loud what we're gonna do to back this stuff up.
I'll ask him what we need to do
Oh, that's a
for.
good point, because we're on tapes.
Right.
Would the cost of this equipment to download it be something, where would that come from, and what does that entail?
Well, it could be part of,
Office expenses.
or he
Or-
might buy out of his budget, but I'll have to ask him.
Yeah,
So
depending
everyone in the town
how
can
many
utilize
people are
it.
using this
You
type
can buy the
of.
software and share it
I
amongst
think
the different offices in
everyone
the
does
town.
this now, just about for meeting minutes, because we asked Nancy Hurst and
Okay.
what she used, and I think it's the same model.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
but I'll ask him.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just thought, having not heard it, except for myself playing it back and listening to myself, which is pretty strange, but,
Well, yeah, I mean, the
Depends on what you were
purpose
saying
of
to
it,
yourself.
I'm talking about you, actually.
Did you like what you heard?
No,
Oh.
actually, no. I was being very nice. Anyhow, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Excuse me,
Second.
are we forgetting something?
Um, I-
Sharon, you were supposed to address the problem.
I can't because it's not on the agenda, and the agenda already went out. I have to wait till next meeting.
If you want to address the board, you have to be on our agenda. That's the town
Why
ordinance.
didn't you tell me? You knew why I was here. There's a certain board member that's throwing knives at my wife's back.
But Phil, you're gonna have to wait till the next meeting because it's not on the agenda.
Well, you heard what I said, I'm here to defend my wife.
Yes, I
Why
do.
didn't you tell me at 7 o'clock instead of having me sit here late to tell me this?
Because it's not my place to open this up. I'm part of a meeting here. This is not
The
appropriate.
town manager told you to address it.
But the trouble
You
is,
can't address it unless you're on the agenda, sir, and that's the way it is, that's the law. You have to be on the agenda to not address the board.
Do you have to be on the agenda to knife people in the back?
I don't know anything about knifing people in the back.
Yes, you do,
No, I
because
don't.
you know what Mary's been going through.
Our next meeting
I
is
don't
this-
know what Mary's been going through, and I'm not gonna address it in this public forum. So the meeting
Well,
is
it
agenda,
will
and
be
I'm
on the
adjourning.
agenda next week.
And that's fine. I'm not denying you access to the agenda, I'm just saying it has to be on the agenda. That's all I'm saying.
Sharon knew exactly why I was here tonight.
So our next
She
meeting.
should have told me at 7 and not let me sit here till 8 o'clock to let me know.
So our next meeting is the 17th,
the 18th.
18th.
So, motion to adjourn and second, is there anything further to say?
No.
All
Well,
in
for one
favor?
thing, it's the chairman that runs the meetings, and he was the one that told you that you couldn't speak.
No, I just
don't
told him
run-
that 4 seconds ago.
I don't run the meetings.
I know, but you
Yeah.
knew why I was here, Sharon. You knew what was going down. There's backdoor stuff going on that shouldn't be. And I will be here next month, and I'm gonna make sure it's on the agenda.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
and from what's transpired on the Board of Health, an illegal trash contract, a town manager, that the contract was illegal. He let him open the contract and looked at it. $400,000 for toters, and you're sitting here talking about saving the town money? Are you people okay? You might have got a grant for $40,000. The townspeople still had to pay $360,000 for toters that they don't even know about. And now we're playing legal beagle here. I gotta put it on the agenda. It will be, and I'll voice my opinion on the dishonesty of this board. I went to that town meeting, I talked to this gentleman. I'm the only one that got up and questioned DiAugustino on the $400,000 for the toters, and he assured me he had it, when in fact, he never had a dime. And the selectmen knew it too. No one had the croakies to get up, except
Okay.
me, and question him on it.
I hope to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the meeting is adjourned.
See you next month, and I'm sure Mary's gonna be real proud of you, Mr. Manning.
That's what you gather when he comes in the office?
It's on tape, be careful.
Mhm.